Alright guys, welcome. You're gonna kill me because I didn't have the camera rolling when I was doing certain things. Instead I had the camera rolling when I was setting up. So you can see me solder the body pads on. But you can see here I'm positioning them, and I'm using the two pieces that came with the piece that came with the kit. And I cut it to size to what I need from my body. And we'll get into that with mounting the body on the next part of this series. So I'm sorry for my mistake. I thought I had my camera on my phone, but it wasn't, and then I ran into this, which is just me setting up. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm pinning everything so I could solder the mounting body mounting pads onto the chassis, and you see I'm just using the pins to position them, and then I'll measure them out to make sure everything's, peachy and where I want it. But again, I apologize. This part is not very difficult. It's just a flat piece of brass, and you're going to put it on there and pin it, and you're just going to make sure it's flush with your rails. And then what you're going to do is on the back there where I'm pinning it, you will cut that down so that the motor will fit there, and that's not hard to do. And I don't know if I have a video of me cutting it, but it's not hard to get a Dremel, and you just cut the inside, the brass from the inside, and you can leave them fairly low close to the rails, and that'll be your pads for the rear to allow your motor to sit in there. But again, I apologize for all this. It was one of those things where, gosh darn, after I looked at everything on my phone, I'm like, what in the heck happened to what I was filming? So I was filming and soldering, but not filming. So again, apologies. You're seeing me again setting up, but we'll move on to the next part here, and just bear with me. All right, here we are. We have the chassis assembled. I've cleaned it up a little bit, as you can see. Just got some, Never Dull and kind of shined it up, and just cleaned it up a little. If you don't have to do it this way, I mean, it looks nice. I know Michael Squire does a really nice job when he polishes his. You could really get detail into this and clean this up more. But we're just doing this just to show you a build. And another thing too, painted chassis are just as nice as polished chassis. Painted chassis look really good, actually make the car look realistic, because nobody has a brass chassis underneath your automobile unless it's a show car like a lowrider or something like that. So a painted chassis is fine. So I think it's good. It's just as good as a brass one. So, a polished brass one. So we have this all together. Everything's square, looks good. We put our wheels on here, which I'll show you. What we did, I did do a video, and the camera was not rolling, which is extremely annoying, which you have to watch on Apple phones. Gotta make sure you press the button. It looks like it's recording, or because you're not paying attention to the little red circle if it's turned into a square or not. And that kind of messed me up there. So I'm going to show you what I mean here. So as you can see, nice and square chassis. There's no, when you hit the corners, it's not doing this, wobbly thing. Very solid all the way around, and a nice roller. You got yourself a roller there, and very nice. See, no problem. Yes, just double check it, make sure it's nice and square before you clean it up and do anything else, and then go back to the drawing board and try and resolder and try and see where you left some problems, like where it's not soldered all the way, or this lifted up the motor bracket and stuff like that. You want to check all that before you start doing anything else and assembling it. So we're now at the stage of assembly. So if you're here, congratulations, cool, you're ready to go. So what I did with this chassis to really clean it up is I got some Never Dull and just kind of put Never Dull on it, and then Never Dull these axles and shine them up, clean them up, and I want to make sure that this drops in nicely. And as you can see, that's what you exactly want. So I want to make sure the holes are clean, and for the axle. And it's not doing now, but once you put oil on it, it'll do it even more. And you're making sure that the axle's nice and not binding. It's really important. And you could use mother's polish, like put this on the end of a Dremel and then just put some mother's polish and get a rag and spin it. And then also for in here, you want to make sure these are clean too, because sometimes they did get a lot of from the soldering and the heat. And what you can do, if they find them a little stuck, you could get a Dremel as well and some mothers and spin it in here, and you have your Dremel right here, and you have mothers on this, and it's essentially polishing the axle and the bushings if you want to do that. But I find that it helps. And then when you get everything cleaned up, you know, washed off, and then you get some Neverdull on here or whatever, mother's polish, and some oil, this thing will really flow nice. So now we got these on, and what we want to do is glue our tires. And since we're not painting these wheels because they are deep insert wheels, and the reason why they do this is because you use the model kit insert wheels, and this way it gives you more of a choice of what to do, or how would you say, what to use in here. It gives you that option. It gives you several options, because if you were to get steely wheels, then you kind of be stuck with just the steely wheels, and that's, you know, this gives you more of an option to do different things. So what I will do is get some sandpaper, maybe, you know, 1,000, something really light, and just scuff it. If I could hold on to it, scuff it lightly, just the, you know, the inside here, just give it a little scuff. And what you can do also is get a Dremel, which I should do, and put it right here, which fits in there perfectly. And then you can do this, do a little scuffing, so give the whatever glue you're using, or how would you say, nail polish is what I'll be using to put on here. And so I got that little scuffed up, and then what I'll do is I'll get, which I'm really low on nail polish, you can use E6000. There's other stuff out there you can use, you know, regular super glue if you wanted to, but I usually use the nail polish, and I coat all these just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip the tire on, and I'm going to use this side faced out. This side right here you're going to grind away, so you want this on the inside. So these slip on nice and easy, just like that. And then as I drop it, I roll it like this. Make sure, you know, the tire is just like on the rim, you know, pushing it on there. And there you go. There's one wheel right there. And you can take it off and set it to the side. Let it dry for a few hours if you want. An hour, I usually do about an hour. It should be fine. They shouldn't come off. But if you want them to dry a little longer, I would say let them dry up a couple of hours. Totally up to you. Usually when I let them dry for an hour and I put them on the Truett, it doesn't affect them, as long as you don't heat the crap out of them. It doesn't take much to true urethane tires. It's fairly, how would you say, easy. And I'm going to do this again and just scuff it. A little scuffing. And then I'll leave that on there, might as well. And I'll get my nail polish, get a good amount, I'm almost running out of this, and then coat it like that. Oops, a little bit on the outside there on accident. That's okay, because we're putting wheel insert anyway, but you don't want to do that with a steely wheel. You can make a mess out of it. And good thing that it's not full. So I have my camera right here, and I cannot, let me make sure I wipe that excess off, which I did, that got in there. Get my wheel again, and I'm going to put it right here and make sure it's in there right there. There you go. And I could do this too. And since I got it on the Dremel, so you can kind of do that if you have a Dremel, just you know, something to not having to take it out of the Dremel all the time. And then remove the wheel, and that one's set, so we'll put that aside. And you'll continue on doing the other ones until you get to, you know, all together and all glued. Then what we could do is we could actually put them on the car, and after we let them set for a little bit, they get set for about half an hour. You can still handle them. It shouldn't be a problem. And just to get everything on there and see how the car looks, or the chassis looks and everything. All right, so let's get the rest glued up, and we'll continue from there. Okay, now we got all our wheels glued on. We'll set those off to the side. And what we're going to start with is pressing on the pinion gear for the motor. So we're going to get that out. Now remember, you do need tools for this, and I stress that, you know, if you're going to build slot cars, a gear press is important. If you don't intend on building anything and you don't want to buy the tool, then I recommend not building the cars, because you will use these tools regardless. You know, when you build one, you're going to want to build another, trust me. So these tools come in handy. And here's one from Slot Invasion. So you get this from Slot Car Corner or Slot Invasion, and this little piece right here is for these long can motors, because you don't want the metal pressing on there, and it's an additional couple of bucks, so it's not a big, you know, price impact. I recommend it, highly recommend it, because it does serve its purpose, as you see right there. And then I'm gonna spin this up because this is a long can motor, and get my gear, or my pinion, yeah, get my pinion gear. Duh, can't even talk here. And this, just gotta get it in there, and I wanna put it, there's a hole here where the shaft goes to, or through, if you go further than you need to, and we're just gonna give it some tension to line it up. And you can see where it's marked, where I've been doing it on a lot of other excuse me, on a lot of other pinions here. So we're gonna grab this and we're gonna press it in. See, you hear that? That's not good. We don't want that. That was worrying me. Make sure we're not bending anything. If it becomes really hard to turn in there, then stop and reevaluate what's going on. And there we go. And we'll go in. Yeah, it's just being a little tight, so it's not resisting or stopping and being real hard, so it is going in, as you can see right there. How far you go depends on how this lines up too, so looks like we're going to go in further, but maybe not. So when you put this in here, you get your gear and your axle. And put this right here. Let me get that. There we go. Let me loosen that, because that is down all the way, so you can get a little. There you go. Put it on the other, to the other side there, and then you could see that we're going to need to, obviously, as you can see right there, that is not enough, so we need to push this in, and we may have to cut that shaft too. So what we'll do is we'll leave this gear in here just for the heck of it, just to use it as a point to make an adjustment. So we're going to push this pinion in more with the press, and go out here. Again, this is a little tight, so I thought that noise it was making was something wrong, but what it is it's just a little tight. But it didn't stop, it kept going fine. So you see how it didn't stop, and then you know you're hitting something. So don't worry if you hear that. That's kind of happens sometimes. We'll go that far, and we'll get it in here and check it out, see where we're at. And still, we're gonna have to probably cut this shaft maybe, so we'll go in more. We need this here. Make sure you put this on, and oops, I dump it on my chassis. Make sure I get that lined up there. Alright. Oops. I'm going to go in a little bit further just to see where I'm at. And did go in, as you can see. No problem. Let's see how far we got it in. We're going to put it right here. There we go. Now here's the kicker right here. See that? That little grub screw. It could get in the way. So this is where you have to get a little bit ingenuity here. As you can see, that is going to be just shaved down a little. So, and sometimes you have to do things like this. So we're going to shave this down a little with the Dremel. So I'm going to get this over here, and I'm going to grab this, and I'm just going to do this. There we go. See? Nice and clean. You don't have to worry about it. A little bit of material there. Not a big deal. It ain't going to hurt the motor. And we're going to put it back up here. And that's a little better. So I'm concerned with is this grub screw. Once you tighten it, it'll go in there more, but this is the thing that I mean, that you have to look at stuff. So even if, okay, that's even tight actually. So again, you can also shave the bottom of this grub screw as well if you want to do that. So if you don't want to shave any more off the motor, then we could shave some right here, which I've done on some other cars, like Thunderslot, or excuse me, NSR, when they're too big, because they stick out and hit the bottom of that chassis. So I'll grind down a little. There you go. Shorten it out. Now what I'll do is I'll put it back on here and see how far it goes in. There you go. See how much further that is compared to what it was. Right, and I'll put my gear here, or my motor. And there you go. See, we got clearance. That right there is perfect. I hope you can see that. How much clearance there is by just grinding down a little of the pinion, and then you could grind down the grub screw if you want, or just do the grub screw and see where you're at. But see, that's not going to interfere. And that's what you got to make sure that you don't run into that problem, because you know the grub screw is a little big. The 440 grub screws are pretty big, and that's not going to do anything. It'll hold the gear fine. You're not doing anything wrong to the grub screw. You can see there's clearance there now. And then where this is sitting right now is perfect, because I usually like it in the center of the pinion gear. So we're in good shape there. So now that we've got that part done, which is fairly easy, we're going to loosen this. We're going to remove the gear and the axle, and then we're going to put the motor screws that comes in the kit and mount the motor. And so we're going to grab these ones right here, which are the 4mm pan head screws. We'll get a screwdriver, a little bit of a fat screwdriver I have here, and I'm gonna line the hole up, or we could just put it in the hole like that, and you see I put it through, and then you can feed it that way. You could get the other one. Where to go? Here it is. All right, and put it right here, and we got tighten it up. There's a little snug like that is fine. You had to go real hard. That's good enough. Got your motor in. So you got that all mounted. If you want, you could just get your wheels. We could put your wheels on just for the heck of it. Why not? Why not? And put these on here, or to do stuff like that. You know, give you some room. And we'll talk about some end play, which we could go over now, so you see how tight that is. It's just like setting the gear mesh on, you know, Revo slot cars. So you just, you know, move it out a little. See, you got some room there. See that much gap? That's fine. Nice and free, and it'll move nice and flowy. So remember, set that gear lash. A lot of guys will forget to do that, and it may be too loose, or maybe too tight. And usually, if it's too loose, you'll hear it, or if it's too tight, the motor will get hot, and the car will seem like it's really kind of not really giving its all as you accelerate. So this is real important. This gets missed sometimes. And it happens, and you know we'll be there to take care of it if something happens. But double check that before you assemble the car, so it rolls nicely. And then we'll get onto the front axle. If you want to put the front one on, you can. And we'll deal with the guide and see where we're at with the position of the guide as well. The guide flag. So we'll get these wheels on here, and the grub screws are already there. And then we'll see how they look, and tighten this up. See a little drag there, so we'll give it a little right there. There you go. Perfect. There you go. And so far it looks like we've cleared pretty good here and here. Got some clearance here, so we're not up against the rail here or nothing. These wheels are nice because they have this little hub part here, so it spaces it out. So there's the roller right there. And whoop, hit the camera, sorry. And now we could go on to the guide flag, and that's right here. and the wires. And we have both of them here. You have some spacers here, as you can see, for the guide flag. Right here you have 3 spacers, and there's one thin one in here that comes with these Coford guides, and it's right here. And then we're going to take this out. I'm going to put them all on to see where we're at as far as how they go, and so I think we'll be good there, because we haven't put the brushes in yet. So this is where we can kind of, once you true these tires, this is going to drop the front end down, so then you may have to remove a shim, you know, and then so this way the wheels ain't up in the air, because you don't want them up in the air like that. You want them to kind of have some little bit of contact on it, to little to, you know, barely touching. They act as outriggers. So here's the one thing that guys have asked about this, how to put these on. So what you're doing is you're gonna slip these in, right, and so yeah, either way they go in like that. I think they had the dimples on it, and you're gonna push them in, fingernail like that, or use a little bit of pliers. See how that snapped in, and you see how this is exposed here. You have brass there, and we'll put that in. There you go, squeezed it in, and then we're going to fold these like that. And there's your guide, your brushes on your guide. And then we're going to get all the shims for the hell of it, because I don't know where we're at until after we true these front tires, and we'll get to truing in a moment. I'm going to put these on. And you can see pretty much not bad. Then we'll put this on. Oop. Yeah, a little booger. Being stubborn. Oh, and upside down. Put it the right way, George. I'm going to put this on. These are a little bit tricky. You just got to be patient with them. They could be a little hard. You have to, when you get these, I would emphasize you run them down, because they're really, the threads are really tough on these at first when you get them when they're brand new. So get yourself a nut driver and then just twist them down without putting it on the car. There we go. And there we go. There's the guide right there. And again, we're going to have to true these down, so it may drop it. So you may have to, you know, take a shim out depending how much you take off this. So, but as long as you have proper clearance, which this car does, plenty of clearance, should be 1/8 clearance for Harry's track, no less than that. And then we're going to do the wires, and this is the part where I've gotten questions about on the email how to do these. And what you're doing is you're going to strip the insulation off, and you're going to use paste flux. Remember, do not use acid flux. Now we're using paste flux for the motor leads. And then we're going to solder the motor leads in there, and we're going to solder them to the motor. And obviously that's not the right side to put the red one on. It's on the left for the red, and then the black on the right. Otherwise it'll run backwards, and you'll know. So with this car, it's obviously in line how it goes. So there's that right there, right? And they give you some extra bushing or extra spacers in case, you know, you need them if the type of body you have is really wide, like, you know, a Lamb barge that's a little bit wider. But this 57 Chevy's a little bit, it's not as wide. And then we're going to put the body on, and there you go. And it looks like we're going to be okay with where the guide is at. So this one we were talked about this, how, let me get the front end to cover that bumper. Let me get the bumper out. And so this is the bumper, and there you go. It's right there inside. Perfect. So you don't have to worry. It's not going to interfere with the, you know, the front end in any way. Doesn't look like it. So it looks like we'll be okay. And that's plenty of, I'm going to go over my camera here. That's plenty of room there for that to sweep around, as I could see, and we'll be good. So perfect. So I know we're in good shape there. We have our clearance, and so far there's what it'll look like when the body is mounted, but we're not going to get to that part yet. Oh, pardon me for bumping the camera again. So now we're going to do is we're going to solder the lead wires, and this is really an easy part to do. It's not very difficult. So what I will do is I will take the guide off to do this. You don't have to do it on the car. And take this off. Alright, and we'll remove the washers because we'll put them off to the side. We ain't going to need them right now. So here we go. So what we're going to do is strip the insulation about that much. And excuse me, I'm going to get my strippers, and I'm going to go about right there, and we're stripping just like that. And you're going to do this. That's what you're going to do. So I may trim this back down a little bit. That was a little bit too much, I think. Okay, I trimmed it back, took a smidgen off, and you're going to do that right there. So it will take more off because you see how the wires kind of not all kind of sticking off that thing, so we'll get it a little shorter, and that should be fine. So you see that? That's where you want it. And this part's not difficult. And what you're going to do is you're going to pre-tin the wire. So this is important. It's always important to pre-tin the wires because it'll make it solder a lot easier instead of you having a difficult time trying to put them on and get frustrated. Trust me, I've been already frustrated with this car a little bit with the chassis because it wasn't really cooperating at some points. And but I was able to get through that hurdle and get it to do what I needed to do. But that's what it is about slot car building, is you do that. So we're going to get some flux. And what I'm going to do is dip this wire in here like that. So you got flux on it. Make sure the strands are still tight on there, that they're not, sticking out. So they look good right there. Then I'm going to do is get some solder, of course, and make sure it sticks up. Working on my camera. I'm going to get that, and then what I'm going to do is tin it. There you go, I tinned it right there. That's pre-tinning the wire. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get your guide, right? I know it's flopping around a little, so we'll do it like that if we could do it. Maybe not. Let me see if I can tuck these in more. Okay. That's where we want it, right? So I'm going to put some flux on this. This thing's moving around a lot. I probably should have done it. Well, I couldn't have done it because I need to put the brushes in there. I could have done it on the car, but I want to do it out of the car to show everybody. So there we go. I'm going to try and do this little ballet act here with my camera in the way. And I'm going to get some solder, right? And then I'm going to I'm doing this left-handed. Just like that. Sizzle, sizzle. And you're in there. That's how it's done. Just like that. Make sure my camera's on. There you go. See? Nice and tight. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Right? We're going to get the wire. We're going to strip less insulation off this time because I stripped too much on the last time. We'll strip that much. And then we'll check it right here. And that's fine. Take a little bit off. Teeny bit, not much. We'll kind of make sure we, make the strands twirl, twist them. Then we'll get a little bit of flux. And then we're going to get our solder. We're going to pre-tin the wire. Right. Yes. Yeah, it'll be easier. Get the chassis in the way now. Should have done it like this to begin with. And like that. There you go. It's hot too. There you go. That's in, not going nowhere. So there you go. That's how you solder them in place there. And that's it. You're pretty much ready to go to connect it to the motor. So now we'll get our shims and put them back. These three right here, U3. If I could get them on my fingers here. All right. Then we'll get the chassis. Your roller. All right. Put it there. And then I'm going to stick them right here in between here, since these little axle holders are kind of nice. Kind of make a little, how would you say, let me go this way actually, so I can make a cross. I'll show you what I mean by that. To make like wire holders. You can, which I don't think you really need to in this case, but that's fine. This is big. You could go over it if you want. I'm going under it, so it's up to you, because the body has a lot of room. So we can do this. I just doing that for the heck of it. So we could go over like this. I'm just afraid these are going to get in the way of the wheels. But you could fix them that they don't. But I'm going to do it this way, so this way they don't get caught on these. I'm going to come over here, and I'm crossing them over, because what's going to happen is it's going to make this come back to center. So we're going to get our, since we're going to use these here, use that maybe to help. So it spins nice. And put that on the right way, George. And we'll put that on. Right. So this is what I'm talking about. That needs to be loosened just a little bit. You have to lube it. So this is what I mean, where it comes back to center. That's what I'm doing, crossing like this. So this way when it comes off the track, it goes back to the middle instead of staying stuck. This way you could put it on the back on the track quicker. If you know we're racing the car, and then comes de-slot it, we could put it back in quicker. So now we have the wires here. So we're going to do, and there's red dots on these wires. You can see that's the positive. And we're going to let's say cut right about here. That should be fine. Alright, so then we're going to strip. Let's twist this. I probably could have gone a little bit more. Let me cut some off again here. Let's go a little bit shorter. Okay. That's fine right there. Trying to make sure this doesn't, come over this way where it's too long. Let me twist this some more. Some flux. Get my solder. Pre-tin the wire. There you go, nice and pre-tin. Then I'm going to get some paste flux and put it on this right here. Get it some, so that way it goes on there nicely. And then already get a teeny bit of solder. You don't have to, probably don't need to, but you can just get your wire. There you go. Ah, got hot, so I can hold it. There you go. There you go. And that's that one. See, nice and tight, not going anywhere. Make sure you pull it and it doesn't come off. There's that one. And then we're going to put the negative. You could also save this wire for something else too. You never know. So there's some pieces you could have if you need them. Never know. Kind of funny when you're building slot cars. That should be fine right there. And we're going to get a small bit of it. Twist it. I used a toothpick this time. Put it on here. Put some on here. Put a little bit more extra. What the hell? I'm going to tin this. Okay. Put a little bit. Nope. There you go. And there's that one. Oh. Excuse me. There you go. There are your wires. Turning the center. There you go. That is the complete car right there. You got a rolling chassis that will go on its own power. We could do a little lubing of the bushings and the motor and then put it on the track. See, this is a little high, this guide, so that's a good thing, because when we true these, so this thing may not be, you know what I mean, it may not, you can see it's a little bit loose. I'll tighten that up a little bit, so it may be a little high right now, and I wouldn't put any more shims there, because you're probably most likely gonna need to take some out maybe as you true the tires. And there we go. We could do our little test. You know, if you don't have a bench, not a big deal. You could put a battery to it, you know, 9-volt battery, and see it run too. You can make your own mini bench. You don't have to get the stuff that I have here if you're trying to save money. So let's go over the bench, a little roller bench, and we'll see what it does over there. All right, here we are at our little roller bench. Turn off the soldering iron because we don't need it. And what I'm going to do is grab the car. And we're just going to lube it up. Just put some lube here on the bushings. I'll put some here too, just so it rolls back there. Put some in the motor here. And then you don't need it there, obviously, because that's closed off. Put some in the front here for the hell of it. You never know. Just for the heck of it. Just to have it. So this way, you put it on the track, you don't need it. There we go. Now we're going to do our first little test run here. We turn the power off. And this is where you're going to see if, you make sure you hook the wires up, because it'll go backwards if you have them hooked up wrong. Having a hard time getting these on for some reason here. What the heck? There you go. Jeez, that took a while. Okay, we have it on the little bench here, and we're going to turn this on. There you go. We're checking that, and there you go. We'll break in. You can run it at 5 volts. Then you can increase it to see if you have any weird vibrations. That's 10.5 volts. So it looks pretty steady. Nothing vibrating or nothing loose or doing anything weird. No noises. There you go. So not bad. Everything looks good. Nice and clean. You got yourself a rolling chassis, man. Now you're ready to mount the body and have a slot car, and after you true your tires. And we'll get into truing tires in a moment here. So we'll put this on the track without truing the tires, because let's see how this works. And then you could hear it running, we could see it run around the track and stuff, and then from there we'll true the tires, and then in the next part we'll talk about mounting the body and all that stuff. All right, so let's head over to the track. Been on this track for a little bit, and I did clean it last time, but it probably could use another cleaning. So let me clean these tires, because we're all over building material all over it as we were doing stuff to the car on the bench. And there we go. That thing runs good. And then when you have the weight of the body, it's going to be handled a little different, obviously. And then you could, if you need to add weight to the chassis, you could. Little stick weights. There you go. So there you go. You got a roller right there. Not too shabby. I think we got a good slot car here, and that is a rolling chassis. And then what we're going to do is we're going to true these tires, because they need to be trued. Definitely need to be trued. We need to true these down, and we'll get to doing that right now. It's all on there, and what I generally do with these is I get this. This is actually sandpaper for drywall, because it's got big little squares in it, so this stuff will not clog up as easy. And I'll turn the truer on, and what I'll do is I'll trim this stuff off. You could also use a nail file if you want, but I usually do this to trim it, to get all this flashing off. And I used to have a little nail file deal that I had this glued on, and I cannot find it now. It seems to have disappeared, but so I'm doing it this way. I will turn it up a little bit, and I'm gonna just get rid of this flashing and kind of make the flush square, or just say get rid of the little rib on there that's sticking out. And urethane's really easy to true. It's not hard to true at all. There, I got it all off. Again, I used to have this little file, but now it's gone. I don't know what happened to it. I could use a file from my little kit there, but I'm just getting rid of this right here. I'll stop it so you can see. I've gotten rid of all that. See, nice and rounded, so that's fine. So now we're going to go on to truing these. And so what we're going to do is start off at 4 volts and then come in and just start off lightly. Get this here, and then you're going to hear it contact. This is a really good truer, and just like that. And you're going to see the high and low spots on it. I'll show you that. This is why it's important to true them. You can do a little at a time. They're really easy to true. I know I just glued these only like an hour or two ago, so they'll be fine. I'm just showing you this example. I would let them glue overnight just to be sure that you got them on there, and since you're building this the first time. But I usually let them set for 2 hours and they're fine. And I true them out. I mean, they're not, as long as I'm getting real hot, that they don't come off the wheel. But you can see all the high high and low spots there. Obviously there's a low, a little bit of, the outside is needing to come down. So then I'll go, oh, too much, sorry. Just wanted a little bit, turn it up a little. There you go. That was too much when I did that. This is a real good diamond cut wheel, so it will cut these down really quick. Generally on these tires, which are not really bad, sometimes they're a teeny bit bad, it'll take 10 minutes, but these at the most take 5 minutes, and then they're pretty much ready to go. They're really easy to true, and the one thing you want to make sure is that you're truing them evenly per tire, and that's when you use your micrometer to check the diameter of each one. So this is a rear tire, so you can see pretty much got rid of everything there, and that looks pretty good. And we'll check it, and that is trued. See that? Nice and flat all the way around. That's good. So this one's ready to go. So we could pull it off. Nope, I got the wrong tool. That's the Rebel slot 1.5. Here we go. I got the right one. There you go. There's a trued tire. And you're all set. So then what we'll do is we'll get our micrometer, which I should have had out. We'll check this one, and then we true the next one. We want it just about the same. So, and then what I'll do is I'll do this. All right. About right there, 2838. Walk it down, and that's nice and easy there. So then we'll get our next tire. You can see if you're truing it that this isn't going in. Obviously it needs to be trued. We'll put our next wheel on with the tire, and then we'll get rid of that flashing there. Oop, a little bit of buckling there, not too close. Just want to get rid of that shoulder, that little thing sticking out from the extrusion of making the tire. There we go. That's gone. Then what I'm going to do is bring my tire in a little. And it's already truing it. So got a high and low spot there. I'll go in a little bit. Again, these tires you don't have to worry too much. As long as you don't like wrench them down and then spin them at a real high voltage, and that will get them hot and then you'll get a mess. But they're very easy to true. That's why we use the urethane for the showdown and for the cars that we do. Because rubber gets a little bit complicated, and then silicone, obviously that takes a while to true too if you were to do it. But we don't use silicone. And I'll just turn it up a teeny bit, and you'll see all that starting to get smoothed out. Still a little high area there. A little more. And we'll check this to see what the diameter is. We'll also check if it's trued, and we'll spin it. Looks like it covered everything. Now we'll check or see how, and that's fine, see? Perfect. So they're about the same, and that's what you're trying to get at there. You don't want one bigger than the other. And that's trued. Alright, the tires are all trued. Everything's on there. So we're going to double check, make sure we got enough play there, which is perfect. Got a little play there in the front. Wheels roll nice and good. The amount of guide spacers is pretty good, what they give you. That's pretty fair there. That's fine. And then what you could do is you could use some floor shine to put on that to make them, as no grips. But the car does fine without them. But there you go. There's a rolling chassis right there, and they are both. This fits the body perfectly. We'll get the body, and right there, and there you have it. All we had to do is make mounting pads for it, and we got ourselves a zipper top. And she looks mighty fine, I would say so myself. And they fits in there just fine. Got plenty of clearance. And this is a good looking slot car. This is a great kit. And you can imagine what you could do with, other bodies, if you wanted to put in an Impala or, get yourself a Chevelle and build yourself your own creation for your own track. Of course, for this proxy, you need to get the years that is in the rules. But if you're building a car out of a kit, this is perfect. This kit is complete. Everything you need is there. And let's throw it on the track now, because I know it's going to run a lot better with the tires trued. So let's go over to the oval. We're running at 10 volts, of course. And here we go. Mighty fine roller right there, I would say. Of course, when you get the body on it, it'll handle a little better, Handle's not too bad, but I don't want to push it too much because it's just a chassis. Oh, and see, there you go. But hey, you land it right on all fours, just like a cat. So, not bad. We'll put that back on there, and we'll give it another whirl. And yeah, you got yourself a roller. Look at that. And there's so many possibilities you could do with this, if you want to, just get this for yourself to put something together for your own track. Or you want to build one for the proxy, for either make a zipper top or any of these land barges you have here. You can build yourself a chassis. Or if you're still not sure about building a chassis, there's always the H&R chassis, which you could enter the event as well, which some guys have been doing that on the Facebook page. So here you have it. This is a great kit. Slot Car Corner has hit a home run with this, and this really opens up a lot of ways to make cars. And I got a lot of 1/25th scale kits, of course, and there's a lot of them for sale. But here you go. This is a roller, and she's pretty much done. So on the next video, we'll go on to mounting my zipper top body, and we'll go into painting. We'll do a simple paint job, nothing crazy, because the paint jobs are really simple back then. And we'll get the car built, and so you can see the completed version of everything on this video series. So, all right, guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed this, and take care and have fun racing.